This is Primetime Sports, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, 1019, 100.5, AM 1450, WGNSSports.com, Big G TV, streaming video, and always at the game. The game. It's Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees. We'll take a look back at last week's big games and get you ready for the weekend ahead. Local prep sports, MTSU, UT, and Vandy football, the Titans, and much more. Now let's join the Primetime Sports team right here on WGNS and Big G TV.
All right, the crew is back in action on this Thursday night. Everybody's in-house tonight. Rod, is it me or is Danny look like he's got a tan?
Yeah, I think he stayed at the beach after the horse racing.
Well, I actually, to be truthful, I was at the beach every day. So, that was, so what you do is, you go to the beach early because, for me, it gets late early out there. That's what Yogi Berra said about the West Coast. It gets late early out there, and it does. Because, I'm still on Central Time, so body clock-wise. So, I wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, 8:30, I'm ready to go to bed. So, it's like I said, you make the most of the day, and that's what we did.
Well, it looked awful beautiful in the pictures you sent me. The dessert looked good, all that stuff. So, hey, football season is officially full tonight because the NFL kicks off. We're going to talk Titans later in the show. Of course, we're going to talk college, we're going to talk high school. We get into region play this early. Normally we're not this early, but with the new region, everybody pretty much has got a region game tomorrow night. Huge one. Huge tomorrow night on WGNS. Riverdale hosting Blackman. Everybody I've talked to thinks it's a toss-up game.
Backyard brawl. It always is a toss-up game in that one. I mean, they've had their moments where Riverdale's been really good, and you've had their moments where Blackman's been really good. They're both pretty good right now, but it's always a toss-up game because it's such a huge rivalry.
Absolutely. So we'll get to that later, too. Every week, our show is brought to you by Ideas Tees, the place in Rutherford County for school spirit wear, screen printing, embroidery, and more. Visit them at 111 East MTCS Road, right across from the school off Memorial. Can't miss it. I went and got my MTSU whiteout shirt last week. Get all your MTSU Blue Raider gear from Raider Tees, polos, hats, and more. Ideas Tees can put your logo on just about anything. Stop by and see how they can help promote your favorite team, workplace, or organization. Learn more at ideastees.com.
Since 1966, Vans Heating and Air has been a symbol of quality for Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. For friendly, complete service on Amana, Bryant, or American Standard heating and air products, Vans will do it all. Sell you your choice of products and then install it with their factory-trained, experienced professional staff. In the unlikely event you need service, Vans will be there with trained technicians. Vans Heating and Air is located on Jayhawk Court. Call 615-893-7930. Vans Heating and Air.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
I'm Ian Young. I'm at Las Casas Feed Supply. I'm selling beef and pork, 100% Angus, raised here in Las Casas. Come get you some.
Everyone's favorite cuts available, even options to purchase a quarter of a steer.
We got the beef. Hello, everybody. Las Casas Feed Supply.
Family owned and operated, Las Casas Feed Supply on Barlow Lane, just off Highway 96 East.
Craig's Tax Service.
We perform tax preparation, individual tax returns, corporations, partnerships, and all your payroll bookkeeping needs.
Brandon Craig with Craig's Tax Service.
We fulfill all your tax preparation needs from individual returns to corporations and handle any of those scary letters you may get from the IRS.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We're proud to support all Rutherford County athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, from oil changes to major engine and transmission repairs, we've got the cure for your car. Let's hear from customers of Dr. Automotive.
He does a good job. He lets you know what's going on and do it at a good price.
Danny does a lot in our community, so he's very involved and invested.
I recommend family, friends. Danny is spot on because he'll suggest what I need to do, and of course, I've never had an issue.
For quality care you can trust, visit Dr. Automotive in Smyrna. We've got the cure for your car.
This is a paid legal ad.
I'm attorney John Day. My wife Joy and I love dogs and have one of our own. but we've also helped people who have been injured by dog bites and dog attacks, as well as bicyclists who crashed after a dog attack. You need to know that the dog owner may have insurance to help pay medical bills and other expenses because of a dog attack. If your loved one has been injured by a dog, call the law offices of John Day for a free consultation.
Life's too short to stress about insurance. That's why Ray Call at Rayburn Insurance is here to make sure you have the right coverage without all the hassle. He'll work hard to provide you with personalized service and finding the best solutions for you and your family. Whether you're looking for auto, home, or business insurance, Rick Hall's got you covered. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. Let him handle the details so you can focus on what really matters.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and Big G TV.
All right, we're back. We're going to talk fall sports. The fellas and I have been looking at kids playing this week in volleyball and soccer. We want to give some kids some shout-outs. I'm going to start over at Blackman. Jordan Christ, 50 assists in volleyball. That's still a big number, but we get big numbers with assists in volleyball and 12 digs. Congratulations.
That's a big separation from everybody else, though, if you notice.
But if that was the basketball numbers, that'd be unworldly. But in volleyball, you do hear about that.
Right, exactly. But when we compare that, I mean, when we talk about the person, Presley Knowles of Eagleville, 27 digs and 2 aces. The 2 aces probably got a jump serve like you, Clark. You got the jump serve down?
I got no jump now. I'm just jumping down. But, hey, I'm going to jump on your bandwagon at Eagleville because I saw Campbell Leather's daddy today. She's just a sophomore. She had 21 kills and 10 digs, and we were talking about what she's looking to do, but she'd like to play volleyball at the next level, so Bobby's really proud of her.
There's been a lot of Leathers on the Eagleville volleyball team.
Her mama's a Jarbo, so that's all kinds of Eagleville history right there.
Right. In fact, my wife worked with Jarbo's mother.
Yep. Who else you got, Rod, you want to give a shout-out to?
Well, Molly Teague for Blackman. She had the most kills of the week, going through the whole list, 24 kills, and I think she was All-State last year. So she's got a good future ahead.
Yeah, All-State, no doubt.
Taking a look at soccer, undefeated Central Magnet with a win over Spring Hill led by Kristen Dean and Madison Stanley. Good job, ladies, there.
How about Emily Martinez for Stewart's Creek? 3 goals and assists in a 6-1 win over Cookville. I know they got a really good thing going on over there at Stewart's Creek with their girls soccer.
And I would go with Oakland beat Blackman. Both of them were kind of highly touted this year in their region. And Nora Bavassa scored 2 goals and had a shutout by Avery Wilson. So that was a big win because things were looking good for Blackman, but Oakland's steady and still strong.
Well, right now in girls soccer, District 8 AAA, everybody's got a win. So it's early. So Oakland, Riverdale, Rockville, Blackman, Siegel, Riverdale all have 1 win. Rockville and Oakland are currently tied for first. It's early. Speaking of volleyball, there's only 2 undefeated teams left in Rutherford County, and they're over at Middle Tennessee Christian and Central Magnet. Middle Tennessee Christian right now is 12-0. Got a big match, little cross-the-road match with PCA coming up next week. In cross country, 4 middle school teams and 2 high school teams won recent meets. Christiana Middle School girls, Blackman Middle boys both won at the Coffee County Invitational, as well as Blackman High School boys. In Lafayette, Central Magnet Middle School won, and at the Macon Bank Invitational, Stewart's Creek High School, along with Rockville Middle School boys, won cross country. It's kind of like golf news, cross country. No, I don't jump, I don't run, and I can't swing a club. But somebody that can't swing a club is Miss Strickland out at Eagle. She came in 3rd in her event today. Congratulations to her, and appreciate all the information we get from Brother Jeff Neal, works for Murfreesboro Post, and the guys at D&J, WGNS. They all work together sharing sports information, so I appreciate that. But fall sports is starting to cool off a little bit. It's a lot better to get out there and play, and kids are doing a great job. All right, let's jump over to where you've been, but where you're going. Let's talk a little horse racing, Danny.
All right, so I was at Del Mar, one of the most historic tracks in the country, the Seaside Oval, opened by Bing Crosby back in 1937, Playground for the Stars. This place is just unbelievable. I mean, it really is a piece of heaven on earth. You can sit there in the grandstand and watch the horses run. You look over to the left, there's the Pacific Ocean. It's really a wonderful, wonderful place. There's also fantastic horse racing there and fantastic competition. Saw a lot of good races. Last Saturday, it was one of their biggest days of the year. Pacific Classic, $1 million horse race. My boy Nisos, he scratched out. He had a left foot bruise, so they had to scratch him out. So the Pacific Classic was won by a horse called Fiercest that shipped in from the East Coast, because like I said, the horses will travel when you're talking money on the line, which we'll talk about that even more in a second. The horse that most impressed me was a guy named Formidable Man. Reminds me of John Dinkins. Formidable Man.
Formidable Man.
He's 6-0 lifetime at Del Mar. So he won the Del Mar Mile on Saturday. The race didn't set up for him because he's one of those ones that comes from off the pace a little bit. So that means he needs a faster up front runners to run into. He needs a pace to run into. Well, the pace was pretty slow. Looked like Cabo Spirit was going to steal the race, but bam, Formidable Man turning for home, kicked in the jets. Umberto Rispoli, little Italian boy that knows how to ride on the turf. He knew right when to pull the trigger. He got up at the wire, won by a length and a half. Very impressive, Formidable Man. There's a story on Forbes that I wrote about him. So,
and you talked before, how do the horses get from East Coast to West Coast?
They fly.
They fly.
Yeah, most of them fly. Now, there are times when they might van them. It's usually not very prominent or not very common for them to van them that far. They usually just rent a charter. There used to be a airline called Tech Sutton that would fly them, but Tech Sutton is no longer in business. So now they may UPS the horse out there. Or they'll rent a charter jet. And the horse will travel that way. I know a year or two ago. No, it was 2 years ago. Now Mystic Dan he vanned out to the West Coast and it didn't go real good for him. He didn't run very well, but. Mind that Bird, who pulled off one of the greatest upsets in Kentucky Derby history back in 2009. He rode from New Mexico to Churchill Downs in the back, pulled behind a pickup truck. Chip Woolley pulled it because Mind that Bird, one of the greatest upset stories ever in Kentucky Derby history. But most commonly, they will fly them. So when we talk about flying, there's going to be a lot of horses that are flying in for the Kentucky Downs meet this Saturday. One of the biggest days on the horse racing calendar is at Little Oak Kentucky Downs in Franklin, Kentucky. They'll have 6 stakes races on a 11-race card or 12-race card. Those 6 stakes races are worth $13 million, boys. I mean, $13 million for 6 races. $2.5 million is the Kentucky Turf Cup, which is the big boy. It's a Breeders' Cup win in your in race. But there's horses from all over the world that are descending upon this little country track to run for a big old bunch of money.
I'm gonna drive right by you tomorrow night. Then I'm going to Elizabethton.
Okay, yeah, come on by there. Just up 65, and heck, if you get if you got a hunch, just come on over and we'll bet us a bunch, Clark. We'll back a horse and get paid, man. That's what we do.
I'm in education. There is no betting, no bunch in the educational world.
Well, that's the beauty of the game of horse racing is low risk, high yield. We can bet our 10-cent superfecta for $2.40, and we might win hundreds, maybe even thousands.
Well, there's also a lottery going on right now. There's quite a few millions in that one. Whew, mercy Lordy. People are buying tickets on that one left and right. All right, let's see about buying tickets for the Titans. Are you buying tickets for the Titans, Rod, this year?
I never bought tickets for the Titans.
But are you going to buy the tickets? Are they going to be better this year or are they not?
I think they're going to be better, but how much, I don't know. I think offensive line is much better, but their problem is there's no depth. I think there's been improvement. Linebacking is improving. I think wide receivers is improving. But remember the one year we had 90 different players on the roster about 2-3 years ago. So football was kind of a lot of people are knocked out as the season goes along. So it may be rough in the end, but there's a little optimism for right now. Enjoy it.
Well, you talk about the roster. You can kind of keep an eye on certain teams when the waiver wire starts opening up, when teams start releasing players, and the Titans jumped on quite a few players.
Well, this is the first year that they have the first pick. So anybody's released, they got first option, which is a nice spot to be in. So that's been a nice year, and that we got the first pick in the draft, and then the first pick on the waiver wire.
Titans have the fourth easiest schedule according to the NFL, but I'm looking at their schedule and I'm trying to figure out when they're going to pick up their first win. So they go to Denver. They're an 8.5 point dog, which is the biggest one in the NFL coming up. They host the Rams and the Colts. You might sneak one there, but if you don't, then they're on the road for 3 games at Houston, at Arizona, at Las Vegas before they host the New England Patriots and their coach, Mike Vrabel.
Oh, yeah.
So that
will be a little homecoming.
That will be quite interesting. So I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic. Hopefully that they'll play better. You know, I hope Cam Ward doesn't get killed back there or is running for his life. Everybody's picking the Broncos. We all picked the Broncos in Pigskin Picks. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised if I can get that out.
Well, you just never know. I mean, the thing about pro football is it's such a balanced game, and you can go from outhouse to penthouse in 1 year because of the free agency and the waivers and all, and how the money flows and all that stuff. So, you know, let's not condemn them just yet.
Well, you know, I don't want the number 1 pick again. That'll be a terrible season to try to watch. Right. If we were sneaking into the Titans managerial room in the back where they're talking, I'd still believe they're talking, hey, let's just build, try to open that new stadium and have something worth seeing.
Well, and you may be right there because, but here's the other side of that coin. How many people want to, you know, cough up the cash to buy the tickets and the PSLs for that new stadium for a team that really ain't been worth a doggone? You know, I mean, that's another thing you have to think about, because I think I would prefer to ride a wave of momentum into it and not some draft picks.
The hard part about the PSLs, and I've heard some people complain about those, asking them to repurchase those for the new stadium and things, and the corporate world has taken over a lot of the ticket base in a lot of these big stadiums like that.
It has to, because, I mean, when you think about it, that's who you're going to market to. If you're the Titans or any other team in the NFL, you're going to market to the corporate world, because what you're doing is you're pricing Joe Fan out of the game is what you're doing. You're pricing Joe Fan out of the game because when he wants to take his boy or his boy's friend and his boy to the game, it just doesn't it's not going to happen a whole lot for Joe Fan because it's just too doggone costly.
Well, I know my son's like, Dad, let's get tickets to the New England game. I was like, I can't sit there and watch the Titans play Vrabel. I just can't do it. I can't do it because I just got a feeling Vrabel's going to do everything he can to.
Well, of course he will. I mean, what would you do if you were in his shoes? You know, that's the game he circled on the calendar. That, man, we want to win this game. We're going to pull out all the stops for this one.
So, Titans fans, hang on. We'll see what happens. Maybe, like I said, maybe Danny's right. Maybe we'll play a little better than we thought. Maybe we'll get lucky and get on a roll. The AFC South's still terrible.
They are.
I mean,
that's an advantage for them. You have some
playing a weak
chances.
division, right?
Yeah, I mean the division's terrible.
Their
Indianapolis
schedule, because we were weak, we have a weak schedule. So those things will help you get back in a little quicker. Maybe we could get 5-6 wins this year.
Okay, so 17-game season. How many are you gonna say?
6.
You want to take a number?
And that's optimistic.
4.
4. Ugh. 4, and we're back in the top 5. 6, 4. Well, I'll split the difference. I'm going to go 5. I'm going to keep this, too. And we'll see how we do.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're going to put a 10-cent trifecta.
Well, with 10-cent superfecta box, let's do it. It's $2.40. I'm in.
$2.40. All right. We don't have a lot of time, but we're going to start with it, but we won't finish. We'll have to come back after the break. Saturday night, I went to MTSU along with 18,000 other people. And unfortunately, what we saw was a laying of the egg.
You know, you want those opportunities to play in front of big crowds, but it's important to produce. It really is, you know.
Well, Austin Peay did something they hadn't done in 38 years, beating the Blue Raiders over at Floyd Stadium. They had not beaten a Division I FBS team since 1987.
They didn't have a football team, or they greatly reduced their football team at one time, didn't they, Austin P? Wasn't it kind of like no scholarship? Didn't they do something like that a few years back?
Yes.
And they had no scholarship
They went
players?
to a lower level, and no scholarships. Then they came back about 2 years later.
Right. Yeah, there was a boy named Connor Murphy that played there, played at Blackman.
Mm-hmm.
He played at Austin P a few years back. Had a good career there.
We talked about it last week. I heard Ellis names quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good
He's
player.
from Hendersonville.
Yeah. We're going to take a break, come back, talk a little bit more about the Blue Raiders.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Lee Colvin, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure that your goals are top of mind. While you can't control market volatility, we'll help focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 615-907-7056. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
The frustration many are feeling is real and justified. Kenneth Barrett said that after the county commission denied raises for deputies this year, and as sheriff, fair pay will be a top priority.
We need to figure out how we can get ours comparable to other agencies and start communication with the county commission to try to get less steps at a higher percentage.
With nearly 30 years at the sheriff's office, Barrett brings servant leadership, accountability, transparency, and fairness. Learn more at KennethBarrettForSheriff.com.
Paid for by Kenneth Barrett for Sheriff, J.M. Stewart Treasurer.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Clark's has a team of experienced auctioneers and realtors who make selling your property simple. Whether you're selling your home, farm, or have an estate to settle, auctions are easy, fast, and profitable. You don't have to worry about the hassle of updates, repairs, or showings, and you'll receive multiple offers on auction day.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Clark's Auction Company, committed to auction excellence.
Sold it to you, 27.5.
Dr. Russell McKissick of Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance talks about the grassroots effort in our local schools to ensure proper care for players.
To make sure our teams are covered here locally, be there for our trainers. Yeah, it's a passion that we have to try to take care of our athletes here in town and be there just to keep everybody playing as healthy and as best they can.
From a community standpoint, one of the most important things you do at TOA, I'd guess.
I think it's definitely a way to pay back to our community, just to be there for them and watch some great sports too.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, TOA, live your best life.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 101.9, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and Big G TV.
All right, we're picking back up with the MTSU Blue Raiders and their loss last week to Austin P 34-14. Statistically was just ugly. It's not a better word for it. 0 for 12 on third downs, 1 for 4 on fourth down. The first half that I saw, I left at halftime. Just couldn't make plays on first and second, which puts you in the long downs for third, and they just could not convert. Running back, they were held to 44 yards rushing for their starter, 71 yards overall, and so they're going on the road this week. It's a pay game. We've talked about pay games before. We go to pay games because
we need the money.
Yeah, need the money. They got an indoor facility to pay for.
So $1.2 million to take the drive up to Wisconsin. Coach Mason said we're going to get better from week 1 to week 2, and that may be very well true, Coach, but it's just not going to look like it against Wisconsin. Wisconsin was dominant. They had a shutout. They allowed just 117 yards, so they shut somebody out. We couldn't move the ball offensively. That doesn't set up well for us on Saturday.
No, it doesn't. Talking with Coach Mason last week before the Austin P game, he said he felt like he was taking a little bit different approach coming into this year, because last year he kind of got thrown in there. He didn't really wasn't within his complete comfort zone because he said, man, I had so many things going through my mind. He said, now we're just trying to boil it down to simple stuff. We need to do the little things. We just take care of the little things and hope that the big things will take care of themselves, because he said, I think I was trying to do too much as a coach. So when you fast forward to after this, obviously it's just about the simple things. You got to block, you got to tackle, you got to convert third downs. Football really is a simple game like most sports. If you can do those basic things and those basic building blocks, then you can do the bigger things will come. Now, the thing about this is, I think it's still an adjustment period because Middle Tennessee State is Division I and all that kind of stuff, but it is different than the Southeastern Conference. So I think that there's still some adjustments that Coach Mason is going through when you understand what you're dealing with here at Middle Tennessee State. And this is not a knock against MTSU because they are what they are, and they're not an SEC school, and they don't have money flowing out of their ears, and they don't have players knocking down the door to come play. You're constantly recruiting because you want to get new players in, you want to keep the players you got. So it's really a whole different ballgame from that aspect. So I think that Coach Mason is still trying to get a grasp on handling all that because, yes, football is football, but all the things that surround football is different depending on where you're at.
Well, Rod and I were talking during the break. The line play is crucial for MTSU.
Right, and you would expect the bigger school that they would have the control of the line of scrimmage, but apparently they did not. I mean, from what I've heard and what I saw on highlights, that that Austin Peay just really smashed it right down their throats.
When you are playing a team that you're supposed to be better than, you have to run the football. Mm-hmm. I think that's just one of the keys.
Right.
That's how you win. I don't give a doggone what level it's at. If you can run the football, you can win. And if you can't run the football, then sometimes it can be a little bit dicey.
Well, they've got to figure it out quick. Like I said, this is more of a, no offense, MTSU, a scrimmage going to Wisconsin. Then they go on the road to Nevada before hosting Marshall. So they've got 2 weeks try to figure some things out and see what they can get going. The Vanderbilt Commodores, though, they picked up a big win, easy win over Charleston Divisional Directional School. Good for them. But they're going to Virginia Tech this weekend to Blacksburg. They're going to get to hear the Sandman when they enter. And a sold-out stadium is awaiting Vanderbilt. Can Vanderbilt get that win number 2?
It's going to be tough because, number one, they're looking for revenge. Because Vanderbilt, we really began to notice Vanderbilt last year when they upset the Hokies. And they're really looking for revenge, so this is going to be tough. It's going to be a tough place to play. Been better if we hadn't beat them last year, we're going in, but it's a test, and we'll find out. Are they really going to be one that's going to compete for higher levels?
This is one of those games that can really swing Vanderbilt towards that 6th game for a bowl if they can pick up that win. Clark Lee said it's the best offensive line that he's had going up against this real stout Virginia Tech defense. They took it on the chin last week against South Carolina. It was a pretty good game first half. South Carolina got some breaks, and that quarterback can really play for South Carolina. So Vanderbilt on the road trying to pick up a win there. The Volunteers, who also played down in Atlanta last week, not very impressed. I was very pleased at how they played. And I was probably pleased more than anything else than our boy Aaron Carter.
Carter is really, really progressing, not only as a young man, but as a football player. And I think he's a leader on the team, which that's one of those things that I really like to see because he's a quality young man. So his leadership skills are there, but his doggone football skills are there as well. I mean, the kid can run. He loves to hit. He's got exactly what it takes to be a good linebacker. And, there are some stories written about he's one of the best linebackers they've had in a while, or he has the potential to be, And, of course, when I think about Tennessee linebackers, first guy that comes to my mind is Al Wilson, And so can he be Al Wilson? I don't know. I certainly hope so.
Well, he led the team in tackles. There were 4 Rutherford County boys that played in that game. The Perry boy started on the offensive line.
That's right. It looked good. He was supposed to be the starting right guard, and he had an injury, so he got pushed to right tackle, which he probably hadn't been working on much this year, but he held up very well.
So Arian and Jesse Perry both played extensively in the game. Caleb Herring from Riverdale got in. He's in the mix with defensive line. And then the Morris boy from Oakland, freshman, was on the kickoff returns and got a couple of carries. So even if you're not a Vols fan, you need to be a Vols fan for those 4 kids right there.
Well, it's just, the thing that I like about this is, when Butch Jones was there, he wanted to win Tennessee. That was one of the things he said, recruiting-wise, we are going to win Tennessee. And, Josh Heupel has kind of fallen into that mode, too, because we've got quite a few good football players here at this state, and they need to stay home, and those kids have. And so you're right. Even whether you like the Big Orange or not, if you're from around here, you should always root for those kids.
Absolutely. The quarterback looked really good. Aguilar, good number. Some of his throws, he was a little bit off for a while, throwing them high, but 16 to 28, 247, and 3 touchdowns. Defense played really, really good. Again, they mentioned Aaron Carter and everything when they talked about Tennessee defense. Running backs, all 3 played well. The Morris boy probably will not get very many carries this year because they've got too many guys ahead of him right now. And but not much of a game. Little Cupcake playing ETSU this week for the Vols. But next week, this time, we're going to be talking about the Georgia Bulldogs.
We will. But, the good news about the ETSU game is it might give a kid like DeJuan Morris a chance to get a few carries. He may show him something, and who knows, he may move up the depth chart. That's the beauty of games like that for some of the second and third string kids is you get out there and you get a chance to really show what you got under the lights, between the lines, when it's for real. And it's a chance for you to oftentimes move up the depth chart a little bit. So that's the good news about playing a team like ETSU. But, yeah, Georgia Bulldogs coming into town, which I want to ask you this, Clark. So how good was it to see Tennessee win, because you're a bleed orange guy, Tennessee win and Alabama lose on the same day?
I have tried to make it to where I thought, you know what, I'm just going to root for my team, and whatever happens, everybody else is fine. Because too many people talk about, I hate Vanderbilt, I hate Alabama. Now, am I okay with it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm not going to root against anybody.
There you go.
But I'm an SEC guy. I wanted Alabama to, because I think it makes the conference stronger.
Right, absolutely.
When the SEC wins. But I got a lot of, used to be at work, I got a lot of people who are Tennessee fans still, but for some reason I've let those people slip in from Alabama at school. And
now, is that on the application? Who's your favorite college football team?
It normally is, and somehow I didn't read what they put down on that one. That's my fault, but I haven't said anything to them all week, but they feel it.
They know it.
That's the best part. I don't have to say anything because they're waiting for me to say something. And I tossed something to somebody today, and they dropped it, and one of the girls was beside him, and I said, Look, you're like an Alabama receiver. You can't catch. And she's like, oh, here we go. She knew it was coming. So one other local thing I want to mention, Juwan Jennings has been wanting a new contract with the 49ers. They gave him a $3 million incentive package, which I think was smart on the 49ers' part. Juwan's due to make up to $10.5 million and will be a free agent after this season. So I hope Juwan has a monster year for the 49ers.
Good for Juwan Jennings. I saw him play in high school basketball and football, and saw him play at Tennessee. I was still covering the Big Orange when he played at Tennessee. A real competitor. That's what Juwan Jennings is a real competitor. And I think that if the 49ers ain't smart enough to sign him, somebody else will be, and you get a real competitor, a guy that wants to compete, loves to compete, knows how to win.
Oh, I'd love for the Titans to have him.
Yeah, he's a tough, like he said, a tough competitor. Still remember that catch he made in the last play of the game
against Georgia. Against Georgia. Yeah, sure was. Yeah,
that was all will.
Oh, it was. And here's one thing that people may not realize. So, when Juwan was a junior, Blackman was lights out. I think they were like 32-1 or something. They got beat in the first round of the state tournament. So the next year, they're like, well, Blackman will be okay, and stuff like that. But the next year, they won the state. They weren't nearly as talented perception-wise, but Juwan Jennings was on that basketball team, and man, he was just one of those guys that didn't score 30 a game or anything like that, but he was such a competitor and so tough that he made sure that the right things were done, and they won the state tournament.
And see, I was thinking the same thing. All his football stuff, the first thing I think of was him in that state tournament. I mean, he basically willed Blackman to that state title.
Right, exactly, yeah, because they pulled off a huge upset in the first round. Nobody thought they were going to beat Memphis East or whoever. They beat them, and they wound up winning it all, and he was a big part of that. And like I said, not because he scored a bunch of points, but just because he did all the little things to make sure his team won.
Well, and he won't back down to anybody.
No, no.
He won't back down to anybody. So get out there, Jawan, do your thing, brother, as pro football starts tonight again. All right, we're going to take a quick look at high school before the break. In Class 1A, Eagleville is up to number 3. In Class 6A, Oakland still number 1. Blackman is 5. Riverdale is 7. We've already mentioned the game tomorrow night, so that's going to be huge for those rankings. And so got those local teams listed in the top 10 in the state. Last week, let's get some shout-out to some football kids before we get into the actual games. Speaking of Eagleville, I want to give a shout-out to Kason Puffer. He had his 16-yard touchdown reception, a 77-yard kickoff return, and a 44-yard interception return. The boy doesn't come off the field, and the reason I know that because his daddy was fussing because he needed some water, and it's like Mama said, when? Because he don't ever come off. He's playing offense, defense, special teams, so stay out there, Kason. Don't listen to your daddy. You don't need no water.
I'm going to single out R.J. Williams for Smyrna. 7 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Big win for them at Hendersonville. But when you do the math on that, 7 carries and 105 yards. That's pretty doggone good average per carry.
And I'm going to go with Trayvon Jackson of Oakland on defense. And if you notice the game, Oakland really dominated the defensive game. Their defense were responsible for a lot of their scoring. He had 10 tackles, a sack, a fumble recovery that he ran back for a touchdown. That's a busy night for a defensive interior lineman.
Busy, yeah, big time right there.
Yeah, what's scary is how good that Oakland defense is, just to be honest. One other shout-out for me, Luke Tritch, a freshman. The student body over at Riverdale was having a blast yelling at the other side going, he's just a freshman. 5 receptions, 138 yards, and a touchdown. He's a stout little booger because he came off the field after the game was over, and I'm like, you're a freshman, dang gum. That's kind of like that Carter kid. As a freshman, he was a man.
Right, exactly.
He was a man. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, talk about last week's and this week's upcoming games.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
Pizza. You can now order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com. We've made ordering online a breeze. From sirpizzatn.com, tap on the location nearest you and begin your order for carryout or delivery. You can order the Royal Feast, create your own, spaghetti, calzones, everything right from our online portal at sirpizzatn.com. Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
If you need concrete work done, who would I call? Dan France Concrete. Here's why. He's local. He attended Walter Hill Elementary, Oakland, and MTSU. He served our community as a school resource officer for 9 years, and he's involved in the community.
This is Dan with Dan France Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Dan France Concrete is a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. Check out danfranceconcrete.com online to see some of their work.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
If your old unit needs a tune-up, the professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air service all major brands and even offer same-day service in most cases. Keep your home or business comfortable year-round. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com.
Raider Tees isn't just about t-shirts. We've got jackets, scarves, polos, hats, even jewelry and home decor. Everything to show off your Middle Tennessee Blue Raider pride. Whether you're headed to the game or just want to represent the Blue Raiders every day, we've got you covered. Literally. Come check out our exclusive designs and unbeatable selection at 111 East MTCS Road, right across from MTCS. Raider tees, bigger, better, and go blue.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019 100.5, 1450 WGNSports.com, and Big G TV.
All right, we're back. Looking at last week's games really quickly. Danny, your Dogs got the win. They needed that win.
They did. You know, they had a bad taste in their mouth coming out of the Brentwood game because I feel like that's the one that got away. That they really had a chance to win that game, and they didn't. They let it slip through their paws. So didn't play especially well early, but they figured out how to get it done, and they wound up pulling away and could have won it a whole lot bigger if a few other things had happened.
Well, Rod, I'll tell you a team that's really feels like they've let it slip away is Rockville. They've lost both their games, and both of them been just terrible.
Right. In fact, the Rockville in the first game, they against Independence, they got way behind, 17-0. Then they went up 31-17, but then they couldn't hold on. And then they got behind again. I think that some fumbles and stuff that really hurt them against Station Camp. Got behind 17-0 again. They came back, went ahead, and then they ended up looked like they had 5 minutes left, and they were leading 31-17, and then they had a dropped fumble, and they recovered. They went in, scored, and the same thing happened again, and they ended up scoring on 2-point conversion, 32-31.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I mean, they're scoring, which they didn't do last year, but now they got to learn how to close the game out.
Yep. Somebody's not even worried about closing the game out. That's the Oakland Patriots, Danny. 49-0. They went up to Kentucky to meet a team from West Virginia and handed it to them. What's scary, as we talked about, was how good their defense can be.
You know, the Oakland Patriots, a lot of times people don't think about their defense. But when you look at their state championships that they've won, yes, they can run the football. Yes, they can score a lot of points. Yes, they have a lot of big players. But defensively speaking, that's what really does it for them, is puts them over the top. You know, I know it was a couple of years ago, they had those couple of defensive linemen because I gave them the Pigskin Award because they had 30 tackles for loss. You know, one had 40 tackles. It was unbelievable. So defensively speaking, Oakland is always good. People just don't recognize that because they're so enamored with some of their offensive play.
Well, and Rod, I think we mentioned they scored on a punt return. They scored on
a block punt. Scored on a fumble that they picked up and ran it back. And they're known for blocking punts, for example, or blocking field goals. And I think this is a team that hasn't seen them. That was their first game that they played, and so they just did everything. Most of our people here are ready for it because they know what they do. And I don't think Huntington was ready for all that.
Yeah, caught them with their pants down for sure.
Yep. Another team 2-0 is PCA. They beat Cannon County 42-13. Porter Dedman, we mentioned earlier, 96 yards, 14 carries. Nate Lamb, he only completed 6 passes, but 3 of them were for touchdowns. That's a pretty good percentage for that. Eagleville, we've mentioned a couple of players there, 42-0 over Community. Good bounce back win for them. The Blaze, 42-6 over Cane Ridge, held them to 58 yards rushing and 0 passing.
Yes.
0. And we're going to get into that possibility.
In fact, they didn't even hardly attempt to pass. I mean, they just didn't have skill players for passing. They didn't have skill players for punting. They're missing a lot of pieces that you need in a football team.
Cane Ridge, how the mighty have fallen, because it wasn't that long ago that they were a really good football program that were going deep in the state playoffs and all that kind of stuff. But things have really changed over there at Cane Ridge.
Yes, so of course the Cane Ridge's coach is gone that they have the success with, and most of the top players are going to Antioch now.
Right.
That were going to Cane Ridge.
And Antioch started out 2-0. Which hadn't happened in a long time.
Which, that quarterback they got now, he's for real. I mean, he is really a player, the quarterback at Antioch.
Middle Tennessee Christian took it on the chin 41-0. You cannot have 5 turnovers in a ball game and expect to be in it. The kid from Stewart's Creek, we've mentioned, Jamarcus Brown, 2 games, 400-plus yards, 8 touchdowns. That's a pretty good start.
I think it is.
And
yeah.
I don't think he's played but maybe five quarters in this season.
Maybe, because they've gone ahead, and it sounded like the coach was mentioning that they want to run several running backs. That's something you need in this particular conference that we have, because take all the pounding that's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you mentioned that Coach Cardell said that they ran 7 different guys Friday night. Yeah. 7. That's pretty good, and that kid's still racking up the yardage he gets. Riverdale, of course, won their game against Father Ryan. They needed that bounce-back game after losing the opening, but we talked about Knox Catholic during the break as well. They're a quality football team. That loss may not look so bad as we get through the season.
Oh, I don't think it will, because when you think about Knoxville Catholic, when you look at their roster, they're very solid. Their coaching staff, they've got, I think, 5 guys on their staff that were former NFL players.
Chad's got it going on. Good for him. Good for him. All right, let's take a look at this week's games. I'm not going to go right down the list, fellas, as I got information for you. Let's start with your dogs. Oakland coming to Smyrna. That's a tough one in the dog pound.
It is. It's home opener for Smyrna. There's going to be a lot. The Smyrna Ready Mix will be honored before the game for their donations to the program. So it'll be a good night early because there's going to be a lot of people there. I think for Smyrna, they can't beat themselves. Don't give Oakland any more opportunities, because Oakland is too doggone good as it is. So you can't turn the football over, and don't give up those big plays like punt returns, kickoff returns, that kind of stuff. So you got to try to limit that and try to keep yourself in the game as best you can, and hope for the best. It's a football game, and that's why they play it. Oakland is a prohibitive favorite, and understandably so.
And I'm sure Coach Williams will try to muck it up and make it messy and slow and pound it a little bit.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, you want to keep Oakland off balance, try to run the football and control the clock as much as you can, and the best defense against Oakland's offense is keep them on the sideline.
You just can't run outside. I've never seen anybody run outside on Oakland.
No.
At all. You got to try to run between the tackles and see what you can get, 3-4 yards, and that's a win. The big thing is, in the new region, you got a lot of games to play. This is just the first one for everybody this week in the region. So Smyrna's got plenty more games after this, not to just worry about getting through Oakland. Rod, let's look at Siegel at Stewart's Creek. Can they slow down Jamarcus Brown?
That remains to be seen. They felt that their defense was a lot better, but they struggled with Lebanon. Lebanon really got them off balance early, because Lebanon took advantage of not using the passing game at all the week before, and they hit him with a big pass play, and then from there they kind of had them on their heels. And always the second, usually the second game is the big change, but in this case it may be the third one that they need to see that, hey, we beat Cookeville at Cookeville, but that doesn't mean anything. You got to play each game one at a time. Each game is going to be a challenge, and they can make it tougher, I would think, than some of the teams that have given them, especially Stratford. But I think there's just such a balance that Stewart's Creek has, with Taylor at quarterback and the Brown kid, and then you got some other multiple quarterbacks, and they seem to be playing good defense at the same time.
All right, Danny, down at Laverne, you've got 2 teams, 2 new coaches, 2 teams needing to win. Rockville at Laverne.
It's going to be somebody's going to get a W. That's the good news about this. For Laverne, what they need to establish some type of momentum here. Opening week, they got beat. I think they have 7 home games this year.
They do.
So, what you want to do is you want to establish some type of momentum and some type of home field advantage. So, it's really important for Laverne to get off to a good start in this game. You don't need to dig a hole, because it seems like sometimes when that snowball starts rolling downhill, it just gets too doggone big for you to handle. So, I think that it's important for Laverne to get off to a good start. Rockvale, like Rod said, they need to finish the game. They need to play 4 quarters, not 2 quarters, not 2.5 quarters, not 3 quarters, 4 quarters.
All right. Grace Baptist is coming to PCA. The Lions are looking to start 3-0 for the first time since they've started playing football.
Well, they're going to be 3-0 after this one's over. Grace Baptist, I think they've scored 6 points and given up 123 in 2 games. And then we know PCA is 2-0, off
And
to a
they've been
real good
putting up
start.
points.
And in both games, they were favored to lose. And they've won, especially the last game, they won handily against the 2A team.
Yep. Eagleville is hosting, they're at the Tennessee Heat. Again, and it should be another easy game for the Eagles. The Tennessee Heat is a homeschool-based group that plays football. And so should be a pretty good game for them. The Eagles, I think Coach Floyd's figured out that they can really run the ball. Marshall Fields, Thomas Solomon. My friend Steve Solomon sent me a video of Thomas. Thomas is like 5'5", 175, and he wrestles, but he's a running back. He trucked a kid the other day because that kid just didn't get low enough, and Thomas just plowed him under. It was. I said, "This is fabulous. This is fabulous. I love it. I love it." So
reminds me of my cartoon hero, Mighty Mouse.
Yep. He's awful mighty. That's for sure. All right, gentlemen, we got one more game to play, and it's the biggest one to talk about. It's the Kreisky Bowl. I get to talk to their dad. He's at most of Riverdale games, so I always go talk to him. He's a great guy, great retired football coach, but he does not like this game.
Well, for parents, it can be hard because who does he root for? He wants, so no matter what you win, but no matter what you lose. So it's really tough.
Well, Rod, we talked about it could be a defensive struggle.
And I expect that. I really do, because I think Riverdale's had a tough defense the last couple of years. And Blackman, they were actually, their big thing was controlling the line of scrimmage. They didn't have the great skill people, but they did control the line of scrimmage. That's why they had a nice winning record last year. And so I think both of them still, the top part of their game is their defense.
Elliott, their quarterback for the Blackman Blaze, he passed for 137 and had 2 touchdown runs of 36 and 30 last week. Riverdale have to keep him contained. We mentioned the Hampton kid during the break. Much improved over his first game, his first start to week 2.
Does he run any?
No, he's not a runner. 225 and through the air and 2 TDs. He ran a couple times because he had to, but that's not his game like the Elliott kid. That's
Right.
why he's kind of more of a dual threat. And so that game again tomorrow night, big game, should be a huge crowd at Riverdale. Get there early. They're going to make you walk through those new weapon detection system things, so the line could get long, folks. It's the game of the week. There's good games everywhere. I mean, if you like high school football, tomorrow night, whether you're at Riverdale or at Smyrna or at Stewart's Creek or Laverne, all these home games, or PCA, you're going to see good quality football out there somewhere.
Oh, I think so. This is what you want. I mean, the weather, I think it's supposed to be hot tomorrow, right? But then cool off in the evening.
Yep.
So, it ought to be good weather. Fall is in the air. Hey, football, high school football, gotta love it.
I think this year we're going to see a really good attendance because of the league play. But Thursday night, Blackman played Cane Ridge, and you got one more day, and then we're off for the holiday weekend. And I thought, well, it's going to be a small crowd. When I got there, it took me, when I left here, it took me 15 minutes to get to Blaze Drive, and it took me 15 minutes from Blaze Drive to get the parking lot and stop and get out and walk to the booth. And I mean, the Blackman side was just packed, totally packed. I never seen it packed like it was.
Good, that's good. That's good because I've been covering high school football since the early '90s, so I love that kind of stuff because that's how it used to always be.
Right.
When we just had 4 schools in the county, Smyrna, Laverne, Riverdale, and Oakland, then every Friday night it was a good crowd because obviously we got more people here now, but we had less schools to go to. So.
And we had a good band show. Cane Ridge didn't have a good football team, but they had a good band.
Good band.
And Blackman's always good, so it was a nice band show for the night.
Well, that's why I expect a big crowd tomorrow night at Riverdale. You're going to be at Smyrna.
Yes, sir.
Roger, of course, you're going to be at Riverdale with WGNS. Right. I'll be at Riverdale. Taking a quick look at Pigskin Picks. We all went with the Creek. We all went with Rockville, Eagleville. We all went with Riverdale, surprisingly. Danny went with Smyrna. We all went with PCA. we're all going with the Vols because that'll be a cakewalk. We all went with Wisconsin. Sorry, MTSU. We all went with the Broncos. The main split was Virginia Tech and Vandy. Myself, Brian, and Rod are going with Virginia Tech. Rod, you had a pretty good week last week. How many games did you lose?
One. MTSU.
Yeah, one. So right now, Bill and Brian are tied at first. Danny's coming in second. I'm last.
Still?
I'm last. No, I messed up. Rod's second.
Yeah, Rod's second. I was going to say
second.
I'm down the totem pole there.
Danny's third. Me and John are tied for last, but I'm only 3 games back. I just got to quit taking those shots on the limb. I didn't take any limb shots other than maybe the Vandy game, but I think that's a toss up too. So, all right, we're going to take a quick final break. Come back and wrap up this show.
Head over to J. Mullins Jewelry to check out their selection of rings, watches, custom design jewelry, and much more. They're a local business located at 352 West Northville Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. They have gifts for all occasions, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, whatever you need, you can find it at J. Mullins Jewelry. That's at 352 West Northville Boulevard or online at mullinsjewelry.com.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
We're going to be an educational institution that teach Bible every day. Every subject we teach, we're going to teach through a biblical perspective. In every aspect of our school, we're going to do it through a Christian perspective.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
That also means that everything we do, we have to be excellent. We feel like Christ calls us to excellence. And so that means we have to be excellent academically. That means we have to be excellent athletically because that's what God calls us to. It's a great place to be.
Invest in your child's future in an environment that fosters Christ-centered values. To find out more, visit mtcscougars.org.
At State Farm, when home and auto work as a team, you score and save money. I'm State Farm agent Andy Wommel. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let's work together to win big by saving money on home and auto.
In Rutherford County, you know how much it means to have neighbors you can count on. I'm State Farm agent Alex Williams, here to help life go right when you combine your home and your auto insurance. Call me today at 615-898-1150 and let me save you money and time.
At Middle Tennessee Electric, we see the lines that link us all, illuminating our neighborhoods, empowering our businesses, and helping us to recharge. Because we believe in the power of good energy. Whether it comes from our grids, the sun, or a kind heart. And as your family and our region continue to grow, you can trust that we'll always be there for you. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
We're catching up with Anne-Marie Brents at Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive, another one of our great local businesses.
Yeah, it's a big family business. Knowing that my grandparents started it, to see it evolve and what it is now, it's just been really cool and I love it. It's just something I'm very passionate about and customers have been great to us as well.
Whether it's a quick meal, feeding the whole family, or catering, Rick's Barbecue can handle it all.
It's really something I'm really passionate about, very blessed and thankful for.
Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019 100.5, 1450 WGNSSports.com, and Big G TV.
All right, we're putting a bow on this show for the evening. Let's take a look at what you got in store for you for WGNS over the weekend. Friday Night Thunder pregame show starts tomorrow, according to what's on the website, at 6 o'clock. At 6:30, you're going to pick up Rod, John, Brian, and Bill probably. Everybody's going to be out there tomorrow night at Riverdale High School. I'll be in the golf cart until game's time. And so I won't have to do any updates. Danny, of course, will be in Smyrna.
Yeah.
Giving us some Oakland-Smyrna updates. Hopefully, like I said, we'll get a good slobber knocker down there in Smyrna.
I'm hoping so. I just hope for a good competitive football game. And the biggest thing is that both teams stay healthy. That's my biggest hope, is that both teams stay healthy, because I think Oakland's got a chance to be special, and I think that Smyrna, they can do some good things as long as they don't lose their key players.
Absolutely. After the game, stay tuned for the Friday Night Thunder scoreboard show. On Saturday, you can listen to all your coaches starting at 9 o'clock. Talk about the high school games on Friday night. At 1:30, WGNS will take over to go to MTSU football at Wisconsin. And if anybody cares, when the game's over, there's times the Braves are at Seattle, but nobody cares. They're terrible. They're killing me. On Sunday, you can pick up more Braves baseball, and then Monday at 6 o'clock here on WGNS, the Derek Mason Show. Hopefully he'll have some good things to say. I still don't expect an upset, but maybe just, again, a competitive game.
Well, you just want them to play better, and they need to stay healthy too.
Absolutely.
Because they don't have the depth to lose anybody.
Got to stay healthy too. So,
well, the players are embarrassed.
Well, they should be.
And
I mean,
so,
just being real, they should be.
That may change the whole attitude and the way they go about and the way they play the game.
You hope so.
Connor, where are you going to be tomorrow night? Here or at the game?
I'll be here.
You'll be here.
Studio, yeah.
Who's running Big G tomorrow night then? Micah.
Yeah.
So you can check out the Riverdale Blackman game on Big G TV. We'll catch you next Thursday night.